Hello, welcome to the Starters Order 6 Online League review show for the National Hunt Week 12. It's the penultimate week of the season. We've got some great racing this week. We've got the Irish Grand National, we've got the Scottish Grand National, we've got the 365 Gold Cup, we've got Champion Hurdles, we've got all sorts of great stuff, and we're doing a look at some of the big races, and we'll get straight on with that now. Okay then, well, Doug had a good time in Japan, and from there he got straight on the old Silver Bird and off to Punchestown, Guinness and oysters time. So how'd you get on there then, Doug? You're sort of having a good multinational diet at the minute. Can't beat some Guinness and oysters on the seafront.
Playing havoc with my stomach, and especially the Guinness and oysters.
That's good. You got to try that Guinness and oysters. And Guinness and oysters is the way to go. Trust me.
I've got to try that one day. We've got plenty of excellent oysters here in South Australia, so it's easy enough to pick up a Guinness. It's obviously in a can or some stout, So I'll give them a crack.
Give it a go.
I will.
Don't blame me for the consequences though. Right, so Champion Novice Hurdle, Grade 1 at Punchestown was your first one.
Yep, and there was Time to Perfection, and Thunder Sparks Time Runner waited till inside the last half furlong to win. I won well from the Demolisher, and Guna Verdi was in third, and it was a good race, a lot of very good horses in it, as you would expect in a group or Grade 1 race, and probably a few probably a bit unlucky. The trainers might have been hoping for a bit more, but Time Runner for Thunder Spark was just too good.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? One sort of quite easily, didn't it? Yeah, Laguna Verde ran well again in third, didn't it?
Yeah, consistent horse, Laguna.
Demolish a second, yeah.
Don't know if it's going to break through, but only one more week to go. I'm not sure if it's won a race or not yet. Yeah, it's around the mark.
Quite sort of sad, isn't it, really? Now you think there's only one more week to go, because the sort of 90% of these horses will never come back, will they? It's sort of like, you're shouting their names out once a week, because they run every week, most of them, don't they? You get to know them, don't you, and stuff, and I'm thinking, I'm never going to have to say that again. It's quite sad, really.
Yep.
I set up a retirement home for retired starters, order 6 horses, and let them all come and live with me now and run my own races in the winter.
I don't think I'll miss Horsey McCourty face or.
No, I get him every week. I don't know. You never have him. I get him every week. Silver Horsey McHorseface.
I had it once.
Matty Gunner, Hannah Fabiki. I got them both in the same race again this week. That's about 3 weeks on.
Had that one.
3 weeks on the trot. It's rigged. I'm going to set it up. Oh, you need to get it. It's. Every week I get. I think I won't get him this week. I do.
Yep.
Anyway, we're rambling already, and it's only the first race. And so yeah, good run for Thunder Spark. He's picking up a lot of jump races at the moment, isn't he?
He sure is. We move on to race 3, and that was Punchestown Champion Chase. That was a Grade 1, and with Mac the Knife being a shock faller, it opened up the race, and instead of the Professor brewing up a win, it was open for anyone to salute the judge. But with the Professor out, up stepped the Dominator, John Morgan, and Green Desert, and that won very well from Richie Gecko in second, and Eskimo Dave tried very hard, couldn't run with the winner.
Yeah, it was a big shock, that was, wasn't it, when that one fell? I was sitting there watching the racing with a nice glass of wine and stuff, and then I was sort of watching away. I was half in a little dream world, and then all of a sudden Matt and I fell, and you sort of like that, and fell, the wine went up in the air, and I just about managed to stop it from splashing all over the laptop and stuff, but so, that was a bit of a turn up, and poor old Stu Gray, the name is Frank, every week just about he's been running into Matt the Knife. The 1 week Matt the Knife falls over, and then 3 others go and beat him, so he must have been sort of like not overly happy about that. Yeah, Green
6 3/4 lengths away from the Green Desert, so he must have thought he was a chance and just wasn't his week again. Yeah. So but Green Desert, John Morgan, that it's not a name that's really stuck out to me, but yeah, it won well.
It won
very well.
It won very well, but I don't know as it would have won if Matt the Knife had stood up, though, to be honest. You've got to stand up, haven't you? And Paul Rhodes had a dodgy sort of week with his jumpers. He had quite a lot of fallers.
Yep, that's right.
Which was quite surprising, really, but yeah, Green Desert, another Group 1 for John Morgan, like he needs another Group 1.
Exactly.
But that's one he wouldn't have been expecting to win, I don't think. So he'd probably be quite happy with that one. And don't forget, he's going to concentrate more on the jumping next year, so everybody's going to be in double trouble.
Yeah. I'll be concentrating on the flat. Race 4 was a Champion Novice Chase, another Grade 1, and once again the Professor must have been eyeing off the rat poison. after seeing Jenny Bond lose its rider, and that was two races in a row where he's had the favourite or joint favourite, whatever, and they've both haven't been able to complete the course. To the delight of Leon van Rensburg, Crash Bandicoot made it 2 wins in a row, and that was being a little too classy for Much C in second and carded off in third. And as I've mentioned to you throughout the season, it's one thing to get a horse to win a race, it's another thing to get him to win 2 in a row, and so Leon would be very happy with Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, that was a good win. I think that probably would have won anyway, wouldn't you? I don't necessarily think that Jenny Bond's in the same league as Mac the Knife, so we can't say that she would have won if she just stood up. She sometimes does and sometimes doesn't. But yeah, that was good, and there was a good solid performers in there, and I like some Much C and Allied Cardiff. They're all there or thereabouts.
That's correct. Yeah, Mist Maker down the bottom.
Yeah, that's getting a bit disappointing, that Mist Maker, isn't it? I expect that to have been a bit closer than 7th. But yeah, good win for Crash Bandicoot.
No, it was an excellent win. So race 7 was the Punchestown Gold Cup Chase, and it was a Group 1 or a Grade 1, and James Shea picks up another feature win with Phoebo Photo winning and beating the favourite Turning on the Style was second, Belcourt Charm was third. Although making a mess of the second last fence, Phoebo Photo was too strong in the end.
Yeah, that was a good race. It was a lot of really good quality sort of long distance chases this week. We had like 2 Grand Nationals, the Whitbread Gold Cup, we had this one as well, and all sorts of stuff going on. So there was I thought there'd be too many races and they'd be watered down, but they weren't. This was almost like a rerun of the Gold Cup. This was with War and Fire, the Gold Cup, won back in 6th, and Turning on the Style had won the big chase the other week as well. So a bit of a surprise to see Phoebo Photo come and collar a lot of them at 100 to 1 as well. So it was pretty good.
And as I said, it hit the second last, and I just thought, I remember calling it, it's gone, and it just rallied and won by a length. So, it's a very good win. And just looking down the page there, see if we Imperium, Leon van Rensburg, that was unseeded, the rider, that was 13 to 2. That's probably the only one of the ones that didn't complete the course that was of any odds.
Yeah, because that was a big race at Cheltenham as well.
Snow Trooper 13 to 2, 10th. Yeah, there was a few on 13 to 2. Yeah,
it was a competitive race. That was a good one. Old Sharka Dude in there taking them along. It's always a good race when he's in it, isn't it? Makes him go at a sensible pace and stuff. There's a thing that's been puzzling me in the last couple of weeks as well, because how these sort of computer things work with all the coding that goes on, and obviously we're none of us experts in that sort of stuff, so we don't know. But isn't it amazing how stables seem to run into form and out of form? And I don't see how that can possibly happen unless it's just coincidence. But at the moment, James Shea, every time he's running a big race, he's winning or running really well, whereas it wasn't 3 or 4 months ago. The same with David Robertson. All of a sudden, every time there's a big race, he's almost winning. Jim Murray, every time there's a big race, he's in the front 3. And then you get...
I think there's something to it.
How it can work. It must be somewhat coded into those horses from their individual game that at that point of the season or something, they run into form. I don't know. Or maybe it's just imagination, but it does seem like there's definite sort of trends, doesn't there, of people being in and out of form.
I think it actually happens too, to be honest with you. Like I know it happens in the single player game. From my experience playing on the Australian circuits, is for majority of my horses, I'm not going to say all of them, but most, at least 80%, probably even a lot more, they hit 5-year-old, and it's their breakout season for a lot of horses. And all of a sudden, bang, they'll pick up those big Group 1s or the overseas Group 1s or something like that, or they'll put on they'll win 5 or 6 races in a row. And I'm pretty sure something similar may happen with the league horses, because you save it at a certain age, and maybe once it goes into the league, still goes through that progression.
Well, I think there must be
something to it.
There must be something that goes on, because it's just the way that they come, don't they, in spurts. Like even the sort of lower grade ones. There was a chap the other week who hadn't had a winner, and he had 2 winners on the same day. Terence de Baal's recently got a load of winners all at once. It's I think there might be something in it. We'll have to see, won't we?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. And going to race 8, that was the Ryanair Novice Chase, and that was another Grade 1, Punchestown, and Rachel's Dawn swept to the lead, rounding the home turn, and won comfortably. And it was full of running for John Morgan. Monty Zeus tried to go with the winner and ran second, Miss Impossible finished up in third, but John Morgan's horse, Rachel's Dawn, was a standout.
It was. It won well, didn't it? And there's some good horses in that one as well that have been running well all season. If you could get some real money like 14-1, that'd have been nice.
Definitely. Definitely.
Paul Rhodes was out of luck again. Miss Impossible. He must have thought that had a pretty good chance. I suppose Strathmore Maid was a bit disappointing. The favourite, wasn't it? Finishing 7th.
Yeah.
Two of those horses have been running well, but that one sort of dropped out pretty tamely. Good win for John Morgan again. Rachel's Dawn.
And that pretty much finished my first day of the grade races anyway over the hunt. Okay, so race 14 was the World Series Hurdle, and that was a grade 1 from Punchestown. It was a strong win for the winner.
It was. That man David Robertson again, banging form at the minute, isn't he? And Coney Girl won really, really well. Phoebe Red ran well in second as well. And Lustrous wasn't too bad in third. Man Bridgefield, I thought, was a bit unlucky. That ran a good race and kept getting sort of boxed in and moving around a bit. But the favourite was disappointing though, wasn't it? Really, that Only You Maggie won the big sort of grade ones the last 2 weeks, and you're thinking, well, I'm going to go on and take the hat-trick and be crowned champion. Staying hurdler. Maybe went to the well just once too often. Didn't really pick up at all this week, and never looked like winning, to be honest.
So, and they all went in on the equal sort of weights for males and females, and he would have been a little bit disappointed. It didn't finish too far away, but then again, it didn't finish close enough to be a real chance.
Yeah, it may be down to the fact he didn't get a chance to dominate this week. I think the last couple of weeks it's been right up there and sort of dominated the race. And I don't think it got anywhere near the front this week from memory. I think it was sort of held up sort of mid-division. I don't know as that necessarily did it any good, but still a good win for David Robertson, and getting to pick out those sort of turquoise and purpley silks with a yellow hat now, because they're far up into the front every other race, aren't they? So,
definitely do.
And the green of James Shea is usually not very far behind. So, they're both banging form.
They definitely are. Going to race 16, and that was the Punchestown Champion Hurdle. That was a grade 1, and it was an amazing finish.
It was, wasn't it? That was good, because it was a really good race. We got a 1-2 from the Champion Hurdle at Cheltenham, Hegemony and Chess, and then you got Asian Maze thrown in there as well, and you got some good horses. You got Mighty River Run was in there, and Baralinka King had run well the other week, and Demanding looked good, and it looked like it was going to be the same 1-2, Chess and Hegemony, but then Asian Maze and Demanding came swooping past them, and they had a right ding dong battle to the line, those two, didn't they, for the last 100 yards or so. And Alan MacDonald must have thought he was going to get it, but Asian Maze it was tight. It was tight to call. The angle that you see the races at tends to favour the one on the far side quite a lot, and I think I thought Demanding had won, but now Asian Maze had won, and it was good. There were some really good finishes this week. That was one of them. That was really good race.
And
definitely. Nice to see the form standing up as well, because you've got the top two from Cheltenham finishing in the top 4, and then you got Minding and Capital Girl just outside the top 4, and Mighty River on 7th. So you know the form's standing up, and it's good. And I think Joshua Sutherland must have thought he was going to get his revenge on Hegemony with Chess, because did that one maybe go just a bit too soon. I don't know. It was a good race.
Yeah, it was a definitely strong field.
It was.
Race 17 was Cathal Ryan. Novice heard. I don't know who Cathal Ryan was, but it was a grade 1, Punchestown. And another day of upsets with the favourite losing its rider.
It was, wasn't it? This was Solwit. I was amazed, because that Solwit looked like your banker for the day. And what with Matt the Knife the day before as well, bookies would have been cleaning up on the old multiple bets, because everybody would have had them in their Yankees and their Lucky 15s and all that sort of stuff. And
definitely.
It's it was a bit of a surprise when that one went. I thought it was nailed on, and it didn't stop it being a good race though, and fresh.
No.
Right, what I thought.
Leon would have been very happy. A grade 1 win for him was pretty hard to get this season, and he was able to pick one up with a little bit of luck with the favourite dropping the jockey, and he'd be very happy and well deserved.
Yeah, and he's bit of an expert with these hurdlers, isn't he? Because I say Hedgeman, he'd won the champion hurdle at Cheltenham, and he had that illustrious won the big handicap hurdle at Cheltenham as well. Now he's got fresh won this one, so it's taking a claim to be king of the hurdlers, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Poor old Jim Murray.
He's in elite company anyway.
Poor old Jim Murray second again. I think if we have a tot-up of who's had the most seconds this season, he's got to be pretty close.
Yeah, he'd be
because
right up
he had
there.
loads of seconds, hasn't he? And he's had a fair few
Yep,
winners.
he's always in the money.
He's had a fair few winners as well, Mon, so I don't need to feel too sorry for him, but he's certainly had more than his fair share of seconds lately.
Yep, definitely. And Darren Thompson with El Tiger, or that's how I pronounce it anyway, in third. So he's always around the
Tetrahymena
mark.
keeps getting a bit closer, doesn't it? That's one you picked out the other week, wasn't it? Tetrahymena. It keeps getting a bit closer, but never quite close enough.
Yeah, yep, definitely. It's, maybe next weekend it's the one. It'll be its day.
Yeah, could be.
Okay, we're going to race 19, and that was the champion 4-year-old hurdle. That was another Grade 1, Punchestown, and Mr. Money Murray picks up another Group 1.
Yeah, this was the dramatic race of the week, really, for me, because this was the one where Highland Witch sort of took it up quite early on and got fairly well clear, and the jockey was looking over his shoulder from over a mile out to see where the others were, and he was well clear. And jumping at last, he was still well clear, and he kept looking over his shoulder, and he, I mean, downstairs mate just came thundering up and picked him on the post. And I would suggest that if that jockey had been riding for Paul Rhodes, he would probably be in serious trouble.
Hanging upside down somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know what. I haven't seen a reaction from David Robertson about it yet, but it was. It was. I think I said in the commentary. I think if this horse gets beat, the jockey will get shot, because that was. There ain't a lot else to say about that race really, apart from that, because that was.
It was a very strong race. You just had the 9 starters, but Jim Murray's got it from David Robertson, John Morgan in third, Thunderspark fourth, Ray in fifth, the Professor in 6th, Josh was at 7th, Darren Thompson 8th, and 9 was Leon Van Rensburg. It was it was an elite hurdle.
It was a good card. That was a good race. It was. It looked like Highland Witch had slipped the field and got away, and I think Jim Murray was. He must have been resigned to another second, and then all of a sudden, right on the line, whoosh.
Picked it up. Yep.
That was it.
I'll tell you right now, with a field with that many good trainers in, you'll never see one of my horses enter.
Oh, I don't know, you're getting quite good this week. You're doing all right.
First week I did okay, but this field was that's too hot. Far too hot.
Yeah, it was a bit of a time. Funnily enough, the next race after that, which wasn't a group race, the exact same thing happened the opposite way around for Jim Murray, because he got one that had looked like it was going to win and had gone clear, and he got collared on the line by Molliet Surfer's 180, and it was the opposite way around.
I wish I was calling that race. 180. I would love to have said that.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit more sort of English laid back than you and Mike and stuff, so I was a bit more restrained. I think I just muttered something about bullseyes and I don't know.
One of the greatest things I ever seen as an Aussie and a young bloke. Back in the day, we used to have a show on TV called Wide World of Sports, and I think it was on every Sunday or Saturday afternoon, probably Sunday, and they used to show sports from around the world, and occasionally they'd show the darts from England. And what an eye-opener that was. It looks like you're in a theatre and there's these two geezers up on stage with pints throwing darts. The room's full of cigarette smoke and the crowd's going ballistic. It's
mad. I saw a bit of it. Have you seen it lately? If you get a chance to see it now, it's gone totally the other way now. It's they've all got fancy. They've all got fancy shirts on, and they're still not the greatest specimen of a sort of a human body, if you know what I mean. But the pints of beer have tended to disappear. They've now just got ridiculously flamboyant clothes and haircuts and stuff, and the crowd is just still full of like drunken, rowdy people. Obviously, there's no cigarette smoke anymore, but there's like gangs of women waving things around, and there's big punch-ups and fights this year. They had to stop it at one point. Some bloke ran on and pinched the trophy halfway through the final. Some bloke invaded the stage and stole the cup and tried to leg it with the cup, because everybody in the crowd is just mad drunk all the time. They just drink all day, and it's a bit crazy.
Yeah, I tell you, it was an eye opener for a young Doug Warren. I can tell you, I was like glued to the screen, like, what the? Is this real? Is this and for darts? You know, it was just, and you see these two dudes on stage, like sitting one standing back, chugging on the pint, and while the other bloke's having his throw. And I'm thinking, what the? What's going on here?
Well, they used to do that with a snooker as well, because you'd have they'd sit up in the corner with a pint. And Alex Higgins used to get drunk while he was playing, because while the other bloke was knocking up a big break, he'd be sitting there knocking the scotch back. And by the time it was his turn to get up and have a go, he could barely see.
Now that's sport.
that was good stuff. That was.
We're lucky we were old enough to have actually witnessed that. The youth of today will never. All their sporting heroes, from whether it's football to darts or snooker or calisthenics, are just seeing this pristine, saccharine version of sports. You know, everyone's fit. Even the dart throwers are fairly fit. You know, they're on some sort of special diet or whatever. And
yeah, you want to go back to the old ways, don't you? I mean, you see the old sort of like cricket from the 30s and 40s and stuff that they showed. And you got the cricketers sat on a balcony with a pipe before they're going out to bat and stuff. It's
yeah. whacking back a durry while they're putting the pads on. You know, just
yeah. Yeah, it's there's some great old stories from some of the things that went on in sport in the 70s and stuff. And apparently George Best used to turn up to quite a lot of his football matches totally wrecked from the night before, and they used to start to spend an hour before the football match kicked off sobering him up and stuff. And players that not quite as famous maybe as George Best, you might not have heard a lot of people like Rodney Marsh and people like that, and they were like big time sort of like players on the sort of going out scene in the 60s and 70s and things, and they're talking about it now when they're interviewed on the telly, and they're saying, well, I can't remember half those games because I was that hungover from the night before. They were playing football.
Well, two classic stories I've got from one from the 70s. Doug Walters used to be opener for Australia in the cricket.
I remember him playing for Australia back in the 70s and stuff.
Back in the day, and he loved the piss. And anyway, there was a test match coming up, and it was a test match. I think it was during one of the 2 or 3 days, and that night he got on the gear and was absolutely smashed. And he woke up the next morning, he was just totally hungover, like fiercely hungover, and they're like looking at him like, oh no. And he trundled out to bat because they had the open, and he whacked up a ton. He hit a century. And he said he reckons the reason why he hit a century was he was that hungover out in the centre, he just couldn't really lift his head. So he just had to keep concentrating ball after ball after ball. And then he just survived so long throughout the day, he just started coming good and hit his century. And my other story is about Aussies rules football in the 80s and in South Australia. So there was a bloke there who played for one of the teams, Grenville Dietrich, and he was this big man mountain. And like a lot of the people listening in now, they won't understand Australian rules football. And back then he was the full forward, so he was the focal point. Like if to try and kick a goal, you kick it towards him. And back then it was probably the same as like English football. Saturday afternoon everyone played footy. And it was the same in South Australia. And Friday night he rolled into a pub, and everyone knew he loved the booze. And the publican standing there, and he's seen Big Grenville come in and order a beer, and the publican was mixed up with the team that Grenville was going to play the next day. So he's rang up the club and said, look, Grenville's walking the bar. He's having a few drinks. What shall I do? And they said, give him as much booze as he wants. Give him as much as he wants. Give him to free. So they're thinking we're getting really pissed. He'll be no good the next day. so they did. They gave him all this free booze. He got drunk as a skunk. He was useless at the end of the night. Anyway, game day rocks up the next day. He goes out, kicks something like 13 goals. It did nothing for him. Getting him drunk, it worked against him. For whatever reason, he just stood there, and he was just such a big bloke. He just pulled the ball in, and it was just, so there's your boo stories from back in the day, and we'll never have those stories again. So
no, we won't, because even if they did still do it, they wouldn't admit they did it, because they'd lose all their sponsorship for hair gel and nail clippers and all that sort of stuff, wouldn't they? And face
exactly,
cream and all that sort of stuff.
the clubs would reprimand them and drop them and sack them or whatever, just.
I mean, I shouldn't keep going on about it. I'm always having a little bit of a dig at Liverpool, but because I'm an Everton supporter. but they've all started. There's an advert in England, and they're in the Liverpool dressing room, and all the players, they're all putting their Nivea face cream on and their moisturiser and all that sort of stuff. I'm just thinking, when they're getting beaten by teams they should be beating, I'm sure the opposition must be thinking, look at these bunch of whatevers. They're putting their mean face cream and their eyeliner on before they come out to play football, just in case they get a picture taken.
There'd be a bit of chat out on the pitch for sure.
There would, and it wouldn't have happened years ago. I mean, good hard men of 70s football would have kicked them into the fourth row of the stand the first chance they had to tackle them, really.
Yeah, definitely.
and while I remember this, because you started talking about cricket, one cricket story that I'll tell you that is really funny. I used to know this girl. I won't say what her name is because it wouldn't be fair, but she wasn't the brightest thing. She looked very nice, but she was a bit sort of slow on the uptake with one or two things, and she used to get all sorts of things wrong and things. And we were in a pub one day talking about cricket, and there was a test match on. It's probably England against Australia, because that's the only sort of cricket that counts as far as I'm concerned, England, Australia. And we were talking about what had gone on, and what had happened basically was at the end of the day, England had lost a wicket, so they'd put a night watchman in for the end of the day, what they do. And we were all talking about this, and then the next day it was, and he got himself, he got out about the fifth ball of the next day, and somebody said, well, what was he doing if they only lost 3 wickets anyway? And then somebody said, well, they put him in as night watchman last night, didn't they, because they lost the wicket in the last over. And I went, right, okay. So, but he could have stuck around a bit longer this morning, couldn't he? And stuck it out for a few overs, but to get out within sort of like 3 balls at the start of the day's play. And this girl told her, and she says, what are you being horrible to him for? He must be really tired if he had to sit up all night guarding the pitch. She thought because he was a night watchman, he'd had to sit up all night guarding the stadium to stop anybody getting in. And she was deadly serious, and we all go,
my God.
So yeah, anyway.
We were barely going to the third day. I was on a Wednesday. And,
I'll have to do some serious editing on that, I think, as well.
I've gone for the Irish Grand National, which is race 22.
Right, okay, Irish Grand National.
Yeah, it was a grade 3 handicap. And, it was a very exciting finish.
It was.
For a long-distance race.
It was. You couldn't get you couldn't have got a beer mat between a pair of them, could you, at one point? And it was a really good race, wasn't it? Because there was a lot of horses in there that had run in the Grand National a couple of weeks ago, and there was a couple of a few in there that had been balloted out, and they were all jumping well to start with, and then they started to fall one by one, didn't they? Paul Rhodes' horse fell again, Melbourne Cup King, and quite a few that sort of looked at the back, but good strong pace. You've got that 16 Co and Escrow Agent and a couple of others that really blowing in the wind that came second, that really liked to force the pace, so made it a really sort of stiff sort of race, a lot of pace on, and it was good. I like big exciting sort of long distance races. The Irish Grand National is always a funny sort of race because it's I don't know what it is about the Irish Grand National. It never quite gets the same sort of excitement, obviously not as the Aintree Grand National, but the Scottish Grand National is always thought of as a pretty big race, and there's a great deal of excitement around that normally. And of course the Welsh National, because it comes earlier in the season, is always pretty big as well. But the Irish National seems to sort of just pass a lot of people by in real racing, but in this one here for this Stars Order 6, it got a really good field. And I thought again this week, having the Scottish Grand National, the Irish Grand National, and the Bet365 Gold Cup, which was one of the last races on the Wednesday, which is the last big staying chase of the season in England. To have those three on the same week, plus that big sort of Gold Cup type race on the Monday, your day, I thought that's too many. They're going to be watered down. All the horses are going to miss each other. But it just shows you how many horses there must be in the league, because all four of those races were really good,
they're all healthy fields, aren't they?
Yeah, they were good. It wasn't a case of 2 or 3 good ones and a load of no opus. So it just shows you there's a great deal of sort of strength in depth, if you like, for those sort of staying chases, that we can have 4 really big top class races in the same week and have enough horses to go around, and big fields in all of them, and they were all good as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at the weights here, and the winner right on for David Robinson, that was second highest weight, so it was a very good win, really, carrying that much weight around. So
yeah, and it's got to be another example of this stables being informed, because David Robertson again, I mean, since Cheltenham, I mean, yeah, I've mentioned his name a few times in the season, he wins races regularly, but suddenly when Cheltenham come around, he was winning them all, just about, and since then he seems to be winning 2, 3, 4 a week or something.
Yeah, he's been really picked up.
Yeah, and Leon van Rensburg second again, so he's in good form at the minute. And then you got Alan McDonald back down there in third. He won the Gold Cup, so he's in good form at the minute as well. It was an exciting race, and it was good. I don't know what poor old Graham Clutterbuck does with Aqua Blue though, because I think he sort of thinks that's quite a good horse, but it was nowhere again.
Yeah, and they carried the top weight.
I know he's got one that
maybe.
I don't know what it's that one. There's one that he keeps mentioning running in France, and the race is in France next week. So I don't know if it's that one or Miss Beat, one of the two, where he thinks it's got a good chance in France. So maybe that's that one to keep an eye on for next week.
Yeah, it was definitely well beat.
But yeah, that was a good race, and it set up the Wednesday as well, because Wednesday jump racing was as good as any day at Cheltenham we had this year. I mean, to have an Irish Grand National, a Scottish Grand National, and what I'm going to call the Whitbread Gold Cup, and which I'm very pleased to say Gray said in the live forum last night he's going to rename it the Whitbread Gold Cup next season, because that's what it should be. That's what it was called right back in the 60s when it first started, the Whitbread Gold Cup, and now it's called something else, so we get it back to its proper name.
And race 24, that was the future champion novice chase, and that was a grade 2 from Ayr, and a return to form for the winner.
Satan's Curse was the one for that one, wasn't it? And Satan's Curse beats the Ghost. This has been like a sort of spooky chase or something. Retained James Shea back in third. He's there again. Biloxi Blues for John Morgan in fourth. Grey Emblem, Thunderspark fifth, Until Dawn, Graham Clutterbuck sixth. So the top trainers are in there again, aren't they? And
it was another hot field. It was a good field.
It was. I mean, I don't know what the situation is with next season and all that sort of stuff, and from what I can gather from picking things up from what people are saying in forums and stuff, 90% of the horses don't come back.
Yep.
But it would be nice to think that some of these things that are, what you would expect from a horse that's winning a race like this, a big novice chase, for it to come back and be running in the big chase races next season. So probably won't, which is a shame, because it's pretty good, and it was a good win.
Definitely. And race 25, and that was the Scottish Champion Hurdle from Ayr, and that was a grade 2 handicap, and a top win for the top weight.
Yeah, and that's a big. This race, the Scottish Champion Hurdle, is another one that is a really big sort of race in real life, because it gets a lot of top hurdlers in it, Champion Hurdle top horses, but this one is a handicap, not like the level weights one. So you get some really classy horses lumping some big weights around. I mean, years ago, great hurdlers like Sea Pigeon and Monksfield and Bird's Nest and horses like that used to run in this race and lump 12 stone round and every year. And so to see Dominion of Saints doing it, I don't know how much Joshua Sutherland is into racing and how far back he goes and all that sort of stuff, but to have a horse winning the Scottish Champion Hurdle with 12 stone would be one of the things that if I was doing it, I'd think, well, that's as good a winner as you'll ever get, because there's some good horses done that, and it won well as well. It didn't sort of easy. It needed the line, because the one that was chasing it, Graham Clutterbuck's Chris Gunter, had got over a stone less weight, so if it had been a little bit bit further, he probably would have caught it, but it was pretty good.
You look at your top five, and they all carried a fair bit of weight. Abel Kate third was 11.5, Misaki 11.8, Amber Princess 11.11. So the form held up. The best horses really finished up there in amongst the mix, really.
Yeah, I think it probably did that Dominion of Saints Good being up near the lead as well. I know it's been running near the lead in its recent races, but it's one of them ones that's been running just about every week, hasn't it? And so it's nice to see it win a big race and win it off top weight as well.
Yep.
There's some good horses behind it, because that Abel Kate of Paul Rhodes is no mug, and that went off the favourite. I think that Nisaki is one that I think you've had the last couple of weeks that's run well.
Yep, and I think that's won a couple this season, Nisaki. So definitely won one. So
yeah, and Amber Princess had them all.
Yep.
That's one that's come through the ranks through the season as well, and won a couple of races and got a lot of weight and ran well in fifth. So yeah, good race. That was pretty top stuff.
Rightio, race 26. That was the Scottish Grand National, and that was another from Ayr, another Grade 3 handicap, and no zeros for the winner.
Yeah, that was another good race. A lot of horses in this that ran in the Aintree Grand National. Because in real life, this race is anything between 1, 2, and 3 weeks after the Aintree National. So you do get a lot of horses that run in the Aintree Grand National running this one as well. I remember Red Rum running it once or probably twice, not long after, straight after the National. So when you got horses like that, Ramses in there that was close up in the National, and National Sensation and all them, and of course Zero Moon, the one that won, ran in the National as well. I think from memory was one of my obscure selections in that race. So I've got the wrong National, that's all. But it was a really good race, that was, and again they set a good pace. Some of those
definitely.
Some of those early ones. Paul Rhodes always fell again. Cappuccino. He used to get himself
He had a rotten weekend.
He had really bad
week on 3 days of racing. Yeah.
On the jumps he did, but when you look at the on the flat and the Breeders' Cup, he had 4 or 5 Group 1s, I think, yesterday.
Yeah.
So he's, I think he'll have to get a new schooling man in for doing the jumping, because his horses have been falling a bit lately. So
all I know is my horse passed a few real late, but unlike the National where it jumped quite cleanly, this week it hit 3 jumps. On the time I hit a third, I'm thinking, and that's last, I'm thinking, this thing's going to get pulled up. So I reckon my horse probably lost 9-10 lengths. In the end, it didn't matter really. It's still a long way away from him, but if it jumped cleanly and it was close, it wouldn't have won or anything. I don't know, maybe pinched 5th or 6th, but it was good. But Zero Moon was just far too good, and it's good to see Molly at Surfer pick up a big hunt race, really. So
that's good.
Stu Gray in second. So.
It was an international finish, wasn't it? Because I think Molly at Surfer's from Germany, I think, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
And then he got Stu Gray in second, and I think he's a chap in Spain, I think, isn't he?
Could be right.
So it's an international finish to the Scottish Grand National, and that Lebrano was...
Joshua Sutherland's a man of the world.
Yeah, from that interview he did with him, he's probably thought about getting one of his decent bottles of Red out when he think he was gonna win, but it was close up again, that National Sensation. He definitely named that because he thought it was going to be a National. And Ramses, Kevin Minahan must be thinking, if I hadn't won that race at Cheltenham, I could have probably nabbed 2 Grand Nationals. But
definitely.
He
got hurt by that.
To have won a big race at Cheltenham and then finish close up in 2 Grand Nationals is pretty good, so I'm sure he's not going to be complaining. He's not going to be complaining too much. And of course, that was one of those races where you got West Tip set the race up, didn't he? Always sets it up nice, hard, going really quick at the front and whatever. And it was a really good race, that, because it looked like Lebrano was getting closer and closer, but Zero Moon, good win. Good exciting long distance race. It was pretty good.
Definitely. Race 27. That was the Celebration Chase, and that was a Group 2 or a Grade 2, and Graham Clutterbuck was celebrating with a winner.
Yeah, now this was probably one of the most dramatic races of the week, because you'd think, right, we've got 2 Grand Nationals, long distance races, and where are we going now? Oh, well, we've got a nine runner chase at Sandown. I'll be fairly undramatic, but Sandown is it's a lot harder track than a lot of people think, because it's like a park track. Everybody thinks it's really flat and easy, but the way they've got the fences are really close together, and then there's a great long gap between the next one. You've got the thing they call the 3 railway fences down a back straight, where basically it's almost like a show jumping setup. Well, you jump the first one, and you've got about 3 strides before you've got to be getting ready to jump the next. And if you make a mistake at one of them, you make a mistake at all 3 of them. And before you get into that, you've got a big ditch as well. And then, I mean, we have 9 runners in the race, and we only have 5 finish, I think.
6.
Did we? Am I getting this race mixed up with another one then? There was one race where there were fallers all over the shop.
No, it was 9 runners in it, and we had 3 unseat the rider.
Oh, right, was it just 3? I thought it was more than that. Anyway, there were quite a few fallers, weren't there? So. But yeah, Tobert and Joseph Starling, they had a good battle up the straight. Deathbringer made back in 3rd, didn't really go with them. Those 2 pulled away, and that one hasn't got anywhere.
It sort of made a bit of a challenge, but it was just half-hearted, really. It just got too far back.
It was
from the 2 that won it.
2nd for Paul Rhodes, another sort of like not so good day for him again, really, jumping wise. But Graham Clutterbuck gets his win with Tobert. I haven't seen much of that one this season. I don't know
neither have I.
Where that one's been, but good exciting race, fast run races at Sandown. Going to quick jumping and lots of action.
Oh, we got race 29, and I'll let you call that one in.
Oh, well, that's the what is now called the Bet365 Gold Cup, which always used to be the Whitbread Gold Cup, and people are going to get fed up with me banging on about what races used to be called, but they shouldn't be allowed to change. I know Whitbread is like a brewing company, and probably it doesn't exist anymore, or it's been taken over by somebody else. But this is just always called the Whitbread, and you knew this was the last race of the season. Now, in reality, years ago, you would have had a horse that would probably run in the Grand National, then it would have run in the Scottish Grand National, and then it would have run in this. They're running all 3 of them, or some of them, and because they're just sort of like 2 or so weeks apart. Because it used to be, Whitbread Gold Cup Day used to be one of our rare dual code days where you'd have flat racing and jump racing at the same course at the same time.
Yep.
And what you used to get, because it was running sort of the April, back end of April, you would go on middle of April, you'd get a couple of classic trials for the 3-year-olds. And then you get this, and it was a spectacular sort of day because you got the best of both worlds. I remember one year, Sharastani, the horse that beat Dancing Brave in the Derby, ran and won in the race before the Whitbread Gold Cup. And to have those 2 different types of horses at the same time. If you've been to a racecourse and you've seen, well, I know you have done, you go to a racecourse and you see a top class flat horse, and then later on in the year you go to another race, you see a top class jump horse. There's a lot of difference, but when you're seeing the 2 within 40 minutes of each other, that's when you see the difference between a sort of a 3.5 mile chaser, and I'm talking about a top class 3.5 mile chaser, and a sort of classic winning horse as well, and you see how different they are. It's great. But yeah, this is one of the pivotal places on the racing calendar in Britain. There always used to be the first big race of the season always used to be the Mackinson, which was a 2.5 mile chase at Cheltenham, and the last big race of the season over the jumps was this one. And now, of course, they drag it out too long now with all sorts of other little thick bits and pieces being put in. In an ideal world, if we were going to do a league like this, I would have liked this to have been the last race of week 13. But that's because I'm an old so and I don't like things changing too much.
The British ones.
Yeah, there are some things that should always be the same. But anyway, let's talk about the race instead of me watching.
We should definitely. And it was disappointed runs from the favourites, but Smiles around for the winner.
Yeah, Lon Chaney. That's an actor, isn't it? Is it an old actor?
You might be onto something there.
I've got a funny feeling it might be. I'm not a big film person, but I've got a feeling that it's certainly a name that is in my head for some reason, and because it's not a Paul Rhodes horse, it's not going to be a Lady Crook or a newsreader. So I've got a funny feeling it's an actor.
It sort of rings a bell now a bit since you've mentioned.
Yeah, well, we'll have to look it up. But it's David Robertson again, isn't it? And he's another one that's
definitely.
You're working out the championships on prize money, he's probably got to be right up there. And Onsby stemming back to form in 2nd after it fell in the Gold Cup, didn't it?
It looked like there for a bit in Australia it was going to run on with it, but it did. So it did show would have had Leon's heart beating a bit faster at one stage early in the straight. So
Yeah, because I think you have the two greys, hadn't you, when they turned into the straight, had gone for home. That was bang bang.
Yes.
Was it Amazing Blue Sky? The other one, the one that finished third.
Yep.
And yeah, you got some good solid horses in there. Chris Cross in fourth. Of course, I suppose a lot of people say the disappointment was My Princess Laura, but they got top weight.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
It's a difficult place to look top weight round there, because like I say, it's a difficult track to get your sort of rhythm going, because the jumps come up in spurts and then there's big long bits where you have to just keep running and whatever, and it's difficult to get a horse into a proper sort of rhythm there. So it's good. And that was the Silver Horsey McHorseface Matty Kenna Hannah Fabiki one, and neither of them finished this week. I've got Silver McHorseface got he chucked the jockey off after the fifth, so that was one of them out of the way, and then Matty Kenna Hannah Fabiki, who thankfully for me always stays out the back.
I don't think I've ever called that horse.
No, nobody has
watching
except
the race
just
today. Yeah, I was just thinking, what the hell? And 'cause I could just read it because it form. I'm thinking, oh, what?
You see, that's one of the things
glad it was out.
Needs to change in SO7 as well, because that horse, it wouldn't be allowed to be called that in real racing, because it's got too many letters in. I think they're only allowed to have sort of like 16 or 17 letters, including spaces, I think, is all you're allowed to have. That's why in real racing you get a lot of horses where their names are spelt deliberately wrong so they can fit it in, or there's no gaps. Doesn't seem to work in this. Yeah, but that was a good, exciting race again, and I like them 3 mile plus chases. You can really get into them, watch where they're going and stuff, and it was all right. So this week's task is to find out who Lon Chaney is, I suppose.
That's right, and hopefully David Robinson will something up in the forums and let us know. And I guess that was it for the sort of main event.
It was a good week. It was a very good. Right, so that was it then. That was the week. Last week but one, penultimate week, 1 week to go. It's quite sad, isn't it, really? Thinking we've only got one more of these to do. But we will look forward to that, and we'll look forward to some watching some Australian racing next week. And
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I haven't actually seen any. I don't think I've seen an Australian race yet, so I don't know what the course is like. So that's going to be quite good. So have a good weekend. Enjoy the gin and tonics. Don't forget to try the Guinness and oysters, and see how they go.
I'll give them a crack.
And I'll speak to you again next week.
No worries, Martin.
All right, see you later, Doug.
Bye-bye.
Okay, set up.
And a handicap review of the hunt on week 12, day 1. Go straight into it with race 2, and that's the MasterChef Handicap Hurdle at Punchestown. Eye of the Storm for Joshua Sutherland cooked up a great win, 11-4 favourite, won by a length to Marwa Chapel, Darren Thompson, and a short head in third was El Bio for Graham Clutterbuck. Fourth was Bloodhound, and fifth was Eskimo Break. Race 5 was the LFH Hurdle at Punchestown. It was a juvenile, and another favourite got up. It was a joint favourite, and that was Cap Gemini for Joshua Sutherland. So he's having a bit of success on the handicap on the first day, and that won by 1 1/4 lengths to the other joint favourite, Space Command Peter Kale, and a length away in third was Breeze for Marty Cairns. Fourth was Walk on Pass, and fifth was Phillipstown Mainland. Race 6 was the War of Attrition Novice Hurdle at Punchestown, and Joshua Sutherland again. That was my cat. And he got up with the tortoise, and that won at 11-1, and it won by 1 1/4 lengths from Kirk Douglas, Paul Rhodes, and third, a short head away, was Voltorb Darren Thompson. Fourth was Lily the Pink, and fifth was Waterworld. And the last race of day 1, which was race 10, that was the Guinness Handicap Chase at Punchestown. That was won by Trey Cronus for Molly at Surfer, and I'm sure Molly at Surf was very happy to see that get up. Been very consistent, Trey Cronus. It won by 2 1/4 lengths to Masked Carla, Stu Gray, and third was Translucent Joshua Sutherland, and fourth was Prize Much, and fifth was Driftwood Scooby. And that wraps up day 1 on the hunt for the handicaps, and good luck this weekend coming up for the last week of this league season, and we'll have a chat next week.
So race 9 then was the Irish Sun Chase at Punchestown, and that was a good win for Leon van Rensburg's Barata Natiam, winning by 2 lengths from Harrielta. Paul Rhodes in second. Flo Harford, Darren Thompson was back in third, and Bold Lad for Kevin Minahan was fourth. Doug's Tonic Dew finished in 5th place. On the second day, the first race was the National Hunt Flat Race, the Group 1 Irish National Hunt Flat Race at Punchestown, and that was back on track for Philippa Vale. Philippa Vale beat Juniper Maid this time, comfortably by a length, with Manning back in 3rd and Sir Strategic in 4th. Small field, and Philippa Vale back to winning ways for Paul Rhodes. The race after that was the long distance Latouche Cup at Punchestown, one of a number of long distance races this week, but that didn't stop it being a good field, and it was a good win for Graham Clutterbuck's Field of Dream, who stayed on really well to win by a length and 3/4 from David Robertson's Sensual, who ran a big race in 2nd, and Tapa Napa, who'd run one in the Grand National, was 3rd. Debarwi Sound was back in 4th for Darren Thompson, and Paul Rhodes' Lagos Coffee was in 5th place. Race 13 was the Sordlestown Cup. That was a novice chase at Punchestown, and this was a win for Thundersparks Zero, who was driven out to win fairly comfortably by 3.5 lengths from Leon von Rensburg's Affluent Society in 2nd. Muthmere was 3rd for Peter Cahill, and Wishing Well for Graham Clutterbuck came 4th. Charlie back with us again. Nice to see Charlie back, and his American Art finished 5th. Race number 15 was the ITBA Mares Hurdle, and this was a win for another Thunderspark horse in Zaniba, and got up to win by 5 3/4 lengths from Warthog Pensive of David Robertson in 2nd. Coconut Show for Joshua Sutherland was back in 3rd, and Paparazzi ran one in 4th for David Thompson. So race number 18 was the Mick the Tent Novice Handicap Chase, and that was a win for Barking Joshua Sutherland, winning that one by 3/4 of a length from Terracina. Darren Thompson back in 2nd. Indisputable was 3rd for Leon van Rensburg, and Bright Mask finished 4th for James Shea. On to the Wednesday races then, and the first race on Wednesday was the Dan Moore Memorial Chase, which was a Group 1 event, and for some reason Doug and myself didn't talk about that one. I don't quite know why. We must have missed it off our list, but it was a back to form win for Sally Army, who'd been running over hurdles for the last few weeks, and not necessarily covering herself in a great deal of glory, but with Mac the Knife elsewhere, the decision was taken to try and up Sally Army by a furlong or so and see what happened, and it paid off as a 2 1/4 length win over Uncle Ernie, with Regal Prince 3rd and Enter Sandman 4th. Race number 23 was the Powers Gold Cup. It's a novice chase, and that was another win for Jim Murray, and that was a win for Middleton Girl. 6-1 winner by 3/4 of a length from James Shea in 2nd, with Eskimo Grey. Bug Buzz ran well in 3rd for Darren Thompson, who was there or thereabouts quite a lot this week, and Pride and Prejudice for Leon van Rensburg was 4th. Broke the Gate Garancier for Derek Hinton finished 5th. Race number 28 was the Bet365 Handicap Hurdle at Sandown, and this was a win for Jim Murray again, with Riverboat Girl 40-1 shot, winning comfortably though by 5 3/4 lengths from Gottlieb for James Shea in 2nd, and James Folis' Tobago was back in 3rd. Peter Cahill's Wall Street finished 4th, and Galactic Civilization was 5th, but another good winner there for Jim Murray. Race number 30 on week 12 was the Sandown Maiden Handicap Hurdle, and that was a win for Joshua Sutherland's Kiss My Tail. And I'm sure Joshua Sutherland kissed some part of it, maybe not its tail, after the win from Party Girl for Sirius Chill in 2nd, and King Kong for Kevin Minahan back in 3rd. Rat Dong Martin Cairns was 4th, but Kiss My Tail was a comfortable 1 3/4 length winner. The final race of the week, a star-studded action-packed week with some real top-class jump racing, was the Sandown Maiden Handicap Chase, and that was King Spruce getting off the mark with a win for Kevin Minahan by 6 lengths from Tropfort for Stu Gray in 2nd, and Nancy McLean's Cody was back in 3rd. Soldier Hollow for Molliet Surfer, who had Grand National Glory earlier in the week, finished 4th. So that was it then. That was week number 12. We've got just 1 week to go. Week 13 next week. All the qualifier finals and all sorts to look forward to. So we'll leave you now with a thrilling finish to the Scottish Grand National, and we'll see you next time. Between them as they race towards the final fence in the Scottish Grand National. Zero Moon on the inside, Ramsey's on the outside. How are they going to take it? National Sensation and Librano chasing up to the final fence. Zero Moon's over in the lead, Ramsey's in 2nd. Here comes Librano on the outside with a good run, but Zero Moon is racing up towards the line. Zero Moon is going to win the Scottish Grand National. Up the line, Scottish Grand National winner is Zero Moon. Zero Moon wins the Scottish Grand National. Librano is 2nd. National Sensation was 3rd, and Ramsey's was 4th.